Hi, this is Marianne Schultz, and this is a review of the Treegloo case for the iPad 2. So if you've seen any of my past iPad case reviews, you know that already that I've tried other book style cases like this for the iPad one in particular. I had cases from both Portenzo and DODOcase. I did want to try something a little bit different here for the iPad 2. So I ordered this case from Treegloo. Treegloo's case starts, or their cases start at $35 plus shipping. They offer a wide range of external and interior color options, plus different closures, a camera cutout, etc. In terms of what I chose here, I have the Epic Black exterior, which was no extra charge. Let me open this up. I chose the natural wood frame, red suede frame lining, that was extra. The London Underground map interior, which you can see here. There's a portion of the London Underground map, and I also got the camera cutout for the iPad 2, so I wouldn't have to take it out of the case if I wanted to take a picture. And I also chose something called the kinetic latch as a closure option instead of the standard elastic one. I'll talk about the latch and how it works a little bit more later, but all of these options, when I ordered this case in May or so, cost me $62 plus shipping, which was $12 for a grand total of $74. The price has gone up since then, so if you order this exact configuration now, I priced it today just before I recorded this video, and it came out to $72 plus a shipping. So just so you know in terms of pricing what that looks like right now. Materials wise, the exterior is a faux leather that's meant to be UV resistant. It's made in the USA. It is padded slightly, so I don't know if you can see here, but when I press on it, there's a little bit of give, and if I knock on it, it's not as sharp sounding or sharp feeling, if you will. If this is in the DODOcase for the iPad 1, which I no longer own, but there's no give at all. This is, if I knock on this, it's a paper, faux leather exterior right on top of some hard cardboard. Not quite the same with the Treegloo. It's not a bad thing, it's just different. It feels a little spongier in my hands, if you will. The interior liner of the Treegloo, the paper is archival quality green seal certified, again according to Treegloo's site, also made in the USA. The spine here, there's apparently some cloth lining on the inside here. Of course you can't see it through this, but to make it a little bit more durable. The printing here is a little less sharp than I was expecting. Let me see if I can zoom in on this, or at least focus in on that. So I was frankly expecting LaserJet kind of quality printing on the inside, but it's a little fuzzier, a little kind of, I don't know, I guess maybe the intention here was to be, to give an old style book feel, if you will, and that's fine. It just wasn't quite what I was expecting. The pine wood frame here, it's a pine that was grown in the US. It is hand sanded and sealed. The microfiber suede lining, it's see, I chose it's red. It's not real suede. It's of course faux, or I should say synthetic suede on the inside. It has a nice feel to it. I like it. It's not quite as bright as I was expecting from the pictures on Treegloo's site, so it's a deeper red as opposed to a brighter red that I thought it would be. Not a deal breaker. Still like it. Treegloo states that their cases are also made, handmade using traditional bookbinding techniques, so similar to the way DODOcase, as I understand it, also makes their cases. Moving on to cover the kinetic strap. So I chose this over the standard elastic strap closure because of the way it works and how it's meant to hold the case in a landscape orientation so you can watch a movie. So I just did that a little quickly, but I meant to show you that you just pull it right out, put that right in again. You pull it out and you flip the cover back over, and there's a magnet here at the end that connects or attaches to the inside of the case on the other, or of the front cover I should say, and it's pretty stable. So I'm pulling this and it's not going anywhere, and it has worked very well. I've traveled with it already. I took a flight and watched a bunch of movies, and it was great on the plane, no problems whatsoever. So the kinetic latch has definitely met my expectations there. There is, let's see, going back here, you can see there's a metal strip on the back of the ribbon here for the kinetic latch, and that's to keep it stiff enough so that you can easily slide it right back in to hide underneath the iPad. And I'll put my iPad in a minute to show you how that goes in. It doesn't fall out on its own, which is nice, so there's enough it's wide enough to make it not prone to coming out on its own. You do have to consciously pull it out, which I really like as well. And if you notice something here, it's off center. So if you're looking at the cover, and if you look, if I close it in particular, so I don't think I get back far away enough, but the latch itself should be a little bit higher to be at the center of the cover. And my theory on why this is the case is because if it were any higher, this magnet would interfere with the magnet that controls the sleep-wake control on the iPad 2 itself. So Treegloo clearly did their homework in terms of placing this so it wouldn't interfere with the natural functions of the iPad 2. There's a little glue, if you can see here on the outside. So this ribbon here is already showing a fair amount of wear. It's fraying at the edges here, and this glue that they use to keep the magnet within inside this ribbon, it just kind of seeped through. I haven't been able to get it off. I'm sure there's some sort of solvent I could use. A little disappointing that it's not kind of this clean and that the ribbon's already showing this wear. I don't feel like it's going to tear anything, but just something that I notice. Now moving on to how the iPad works in the Treegloo case. So I'm going to pop it in here, topmost first, per their instructions. Press down, and it's in. So if I do this, my iPad just woke up right there. If I shake this out, it's not going anywhere. I found that the Treegloo case holds my iPad in pretty well. I have no complaints about it at all, no concerns. Maybe not quite as good of a hold as the Portenzo case. Portenzo was just, that case was amazing in terms of how well it held the iPad in. Of course, it also made the iPad a little bit hard to get out when you needed to. So this is kind of a happy medium for me, in my opinion, between the Portenzo case and the DODOcase, where I did have some issues where the foam pads in the corners weren't holding the iPad quite as well. But moving back to port access on the Treegloo case, so on the bottom, no problems at all. You have a fairly wide cutout so you can get to the dot connector. On the right side here is a cutout for the volume rocker and the mute or lock orientation switch, whatever you choose to use yours for. I have actually some trouble getting to this switch, so it's hard. I usually use my nail to dig in there and to switch it or to move it, but this cutout just isn't quite wide enough for me to make it, or big enough for me to get to that. So that's one issue I've been having with this case. In terms of the top here, you have a cutout that's pretty wide that lets the leaves the microphone open on the top, as well as the headphone port. I've had no trouble getting any of the headphones that I use in here. Now, if you look though at the port or the opening for the sleep-wake switch, it's off. So it's a good ½ inch, maybe a little less to the right than the sleep-wake switch itself. So it's a little disappointing. I'm not quite sure why that wasn't quite right, but it doesn't really affect functionality a lot. It's just disappointing to see that it's not quite where it should be. In terms of using the case, fairly easy to hold it as a book. I don't have any problems at all with that. The cover folds back easily, so if I want to hold it one-handed, no problems there, and the kinetic latch is even good enough so that it holds the cover in this orientation. It doesn't kind of flop open on its own, which is very nice. The angle for typing isn't very steep, so you can see here, if I have it on a table, that angle just is not quite what I was hoping for. When I look back at the hardcover style cases or book style cases I've had for the iPad, I really like the DODOcase. This is the DODOcase for the first generation iPad. So you can see here, that angle is a lot steeper. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but it's notably steeper. It makes typing a lot easier on the DODOcase compared to the Treegloo. So that's one thing I don't quite like as much about the Treegloo. It works very well overall for my traveling / out of the house case for my iPad 2, and I really do like the kinetic strap for movie watching, that sort of thing. So pros in total, Treegloo offers a very competitive case price-wise, starting at $35 if you just go for the standard base case, fairly inexpensive. If you're big into things made in the USA, also very good. Everything's handmade here using materials mostly made from the US as far as I can see from their site. Wide range of customization options, so if you really want to go crazy and choose a bunch of different colors, different liners, etc., they'll even do custom interior images. So if you have a picture that you want to use for the interior, you can just email Treegloo, as I understand it, and they'll let you know if they can use the image or give you other information on an image that will be acceptable for them to print and use for the interior of your case. The kinetic latch, again, unique, works well for me. The Treegloo case holds the iPad securely. I have no problems with that, and I do think it looks nice overall. Pros, or I should say cons rather, it's not as neat and as tightly made as the Portenzo or the Dodo cases from what I've seen. So just to give you one example here, these corners, and this probably has a lot to do with the padding they put inside the covers, but they're not as tightly folded as I would like them to be or had hoped they would be. So if I look at something like the Dodo case, where it's just, you know, even first edition here for the iPad 1, it was just really tightly made, and I really like that. Treegloo doesn't feel quite that precisely made. Other cons, of course, as well, the sleep-wake switch cutout that I showed you, that was off, a little disappointing there. And as I also mentioned, it's hard for me to get to the lock, orientation, or mute switch on the side. In conclusion, I do think nice case in general, but if you're looking for something that's really super neat, super tight construction, I would recommend you go with Portenzo or DODOcase. I do like my Treegloo. I don't plan on returning it. I don't have any issues. I haven't emailed them to say, you know what, I really don't like this, that sort of thing. So it's just fine for my needs, but just so you know, in case you're looking at all 3 different cases or manufacturers, what to consider. If you do order a Treegloo case, be patient. It took, let's see, 15 business days for them to ship me mine, although there was a shipping issue and it took a little longer to get to me, but at any rate, now they're saying on their site they're shipping in 2 to 4 weeks, and that is not an overestimate from what I've been reading from other people ordering these cases online. So do be patient. They will eventually get you your case, though. So that's it in terms of my review of the Treegloo case. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me either through my channel here on YouTube or on my site, marianneschultz.com. And thank you for watching.